We all know Labor's renewable fixation is sending us into energy oblivion. Summer has barely started, but people in New South Wales have already been told to avoid using dishwashers in order to prevent blackouts. And last week, there were serious suggestions that governments may need the power to be able to automatically turn off people's home appliances to conserve power on hot days. Now, one of the problems is the lack of people outside of my colleagues here on Sky and a few sensible MPs in Parliament pushing back against Labor, the Greens and the renewable energy industry that is sending us all to the wall. Coal, which has powered our prosperity, is routinely demonised without anyone to defend it. But that might be about to change. Joining me is the inaugural CEO of Coal Australia, former lawyer and senior advisor to the New South Wales Government, Stuart Bocking. Stuart, thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks, James.
Just tell me briefly, what is Coal Australia and what are you hoping to achieve over the next number of months?
Well, this is really a grassroots campaign designed to say to mining workers, mining communities, be proud of what you're doing, be proud of the prosperity you're driving. And some of the key objectives of our member companies within Coal Australia is very much about driving down energy prices, ensuring energy security, and most importantly, driving prosperity for regional communities, for states and the nation more broadly. And aside from the domestic element around all of those things, including downward pressure on prices and energy security, there's a huge export market for coal. We're not about to wish that away tomorrow. Countries like Japan, South Korea, China, Vietnam, all demanding clean Australian coal that if they're not getting it from us, they'll get it somewhere else. And so you've got companies who are providing that product. There's a service that they want, there's a product they demand, and we're seeking to service that demand.
So energy is certainly going to be a big discussion in the lead up to the election, as well as the message you've just described in terms of, there's a massive export market.
Yes.
Are you going to be talking about the role of coal domestically at all?
Absolutely, and that's why I talk about energy prices and most importantly energy security. I mean, one of the problems we have is, as you were talking about with air conditioners and other things, we need energy security. That's first and foremost. But we need energy security at a price that the average person can afford. Otherwise, if you're thinking twice about turning on the air conditioner or turning on some other appliance at home when temperatures are soaring, then that's a big problem. In a country like ours, we shouldn't be at that point. So one of the key initiatives for Coal Australia is about saying, well, coal does have an important role to play. If cost of living is going to loom large at the next election, which I'm sure it is, well, energy security and downward pressure on energy prices and cost of living factors there, they are going to be absolutely critical, and Coal Australia wants to be at the forefront of that debate.
Do you remember when Scott Morrison walked into Parliament and he held a piece of coal in his hand? Do you remember that?
I haven't got one with it. I haven't got it.
It was a brilliant speech. It was like, it's coal. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
That seems like a lifetime ago.
And here the sector is thriving, several years beyond that. And you look at a number of these operations with forward approvals and they're forecast to run for any number of years as well. So, yes, it does seem a long time ago since that happened, but importantly, the importance of coal hasn't altered. In some respects, it's become even more critical because we see the impact it has so readily now on state budgets in terms of royalties and certainly in terms of federal budgets in terms of company tax being paid by coal mining companies.
Just real quickly, if you had a message for Chris Bowen, what would you say to him?
Energy security and downward pressure on energy prices. Coal Australia is with you all the way.
I love how Chris Bowen, he says coal is, it's evil and it's the primary cause of emissions that are destroying the planet. But then when we don't have power, well, it's the coal-fired power stations have let us down. So, I mean, you can't win either way. So good on you for standing up for coal and defending what's really made Australia so prosperous.
And importantly, we're about empowering a workforce that can be very proud of the work they're doing, the prosperity that's being driven, and most importantly, the generation of incomes, the knock-on effects of that, the other businesses who are supplying to coal mines in those regional communities and the many other businesses that thrive off all of that. So that's what Coal Australia is about.
Well, Stuart, I wish you all the best in your endeavours as we approach the election. It's going to be a very important topic.